For your money, you said.
Oh, wait, I got a credit card.
But that's like a 45-minute ride from here.
Oh, no fish.
Hey guys, for everybody's safety, if you just want to move like in that general direction,
It really stinks that there. I'd like to get some just to stuff in this one.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Fran, Sequoia Tree Service. This is Troy, Mike, and Dave, my three amigos. We all have a lot of climbing experience. The bearded salt and pepper man is the oldest. He's got about 25 years into climbing, like myself. We are the retained arborists here at Great Tower. We've been working here for about 10 years. Then, of course, we do a lot of residential, commercial, and utility applications as well. We're here today to try to talk about a little bit of proper pruning techniques and proper ascension methods. When you prune trees, we can either use a crane, which is a little over-exaggerated. We can use a bucket truck, which is done well, or we can prune them by hand. A lot of times up here, you can't get the truck close enough, so we wind up pruning by hand. When we prune, we don't wear the climbing spikes. Every time you stab into the tree, you can transfer disease, open up a wound, just won't heal. Last week, I looked at a tree that had just died. It was pruned about 8 years ago. And the person that pruned it wore the spikes, but it took 8 years for it to die. So when we prune, we don't wear the spikes. It's a very distinct difference between us and the rest of the planet. So everybody will ask, how do you get these ropes up in the tree? Well, we have a 7-foot slingshot. So we use a little throw ball and a slingshot, and we put it up over the limb. I'll demonstrate that.
Nice shot, Fran.
So then what we do is we tie our climbing rope on as I get tangled. We use a lot of very fancy knots, most of which the rest of the men cannot tie. So then what we'll do is we'll get about just over the limb, which is halfway. And then what I do is put a slippery sheet bend in the bottom. And Dave's gonna pull this right up and over the limb. Usually works. So now if I pull down on this, hold it, the knot just came out. So now as the rope frictions around the tree limb, it won't do any damage. This is called a cambium saver. There's a lot of different ways to do this, a lot of different applications. This is one of the easier ones. But now if we were so inclined, you know, I can pull myself right up the tree. And it's not going to do any damage to the tree limb. This is called a zigzag. It's one of the fancier methods we have. Pretty easy. It's almost stupid proof. And you can just rappel. If you let go, it locks. It's a pretty simple technique in all descension methods that if something happened, everything stops. You can take that out. So Dave, since he is our most seasoned veteran, he's going to be doing what's called a footlock technique. This is the proper pruning method for about the first 80 years. It's fairly horrible. It's really just a series of pull-ups where you're locking your feet on the rope and then ascending a small safety strap. You kind of go up like the monkey on a stick. A lot of guys
had that donut this morning.
A lot of guys still do this who don't have access to better equipment or knowledge. It just makes for a shorter climbing career. So then Dave has a rescue 8. It's what's used by a lot of firemen, rescue professionals. They use it to rappel or descend or lower a person who might be in trouble in some bad situation. So now he just simply switched gears and he's coming back down. It's one of the more time-honored techniques. It's simple. A lot of people can do it if you have the physical strength, and it's obviously cheap. It doesn't cost anything. So Troy, he has what's called an SRT system. This is called the rope walker. Essentially, he can go up just like Dave did, but much easier. He has a foot ascender on one ankle and then a knee ascender on the other, yet he's tied in at a third point right next to his neck, so that helps keep him plump. You can see how easy it is once he gets a good rhythm. He's actually never done that before. He stayed in a Holiday Inn Express last night. Yeah, look, the benefit for this system is that you can go up, disconnect your knee and your foot, and then you can work and rappel your way down side to side, taking whatever limbs off you need to without moving the rope.
Huh.
The downside to that system is once you commit, you really can't do anything other than be tied into that one point. It's kind of difficult to switch connections without retying in, moving over, but it does serve a pretty good purpose if you can get your rope high enough from the get-go. Mike here. Yeah, that's Mike.
Yeah.
He's been around a couple years. He's going to go up what's called a motorized ascender. That's what we use every day. The other two things we never do. The motor is very nice. It's a $4,000 weed whacker, essentially. And it will ascend him up the tree at about 100 feet a minute. So ideally for us, we go up to the tree, we tie in. If we had to do a lot of rigging, he would set some other lowering ropes while we're there, some pulleys, and then he would work his way down, rappelling, so once he gets to the treetop, he's not tired at all, but he is in pretty good shape. Anybody have any questions? Myself over. Somehow this thing does not get stuck either. You think it's going to get stuck, you give it a little flip and it comes right out every time. I don't know how. Sometimes we'll use the pole saw to move things around, move ourselves in the tree. Now there's another bell out on this limb. He's going to try to jump towards us to get to that bell a little more efficiently.
Grab that other one too, Wes.
Because after all, he gets paid by the hour and I want to move him right along.
He could become Spider-Man like this. See? Spider-Man.
Have quite a bit of timbers you can see that we take down. Usually all the timbers we take down are trees, poles, dead, and we try to repurpose them. We make a lot of timber frames, slabs, tables, barns, whatever we can think of.
We've actually invested a lot in it. We even have our own mill. We mill everything, all brothers out there. Try to make the best product so they actually sell, not just making things, hoping people come and get it. It's making great pieces that are in demand. Everything really goes in full circle here. That's one thing that's awesome about it.
Well, also So a lot of times we don't want to come out of the tree. So earlier we set another rope in the tree next door, and Mikey's going to go jump across and try to get it. He hasn't missed yet today.
Would you say I haven't done it today?
You haven't missed yet today.
Oh.
Good, Mike.
Yeah.
You all ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
We're all ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
He looks exactly like Spider-Man. No? Nobody? He's legit like Spider-Man.
All right, Mike.
See, Spider-Man.
Yeah, there you are, modern day Spider-Man.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Come see us if you have any questions. Take care. Enjoy the
How
show.
does it feel to be Spider-Man?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Enjoy.